Good afternoon, everyone. It is with extreme pride and great pleasure that I, Devesh Manucha, welcome you all to the biggest MUN conference of Faizabad and the third edition of JBMUN. What has brought us this far is the quality and the purpose we strive to achieve in each of the edition. What makes this year different is that only we have pushed the quality bar higher, but also the magnanimous participation ever seen in the MUN conferences across Faizabad. I believe JBMUN is not just an event, it's an experience. It's a hallmark of what young minds can do. You come here as students, and I'm sure you will go back as diplomats. I would like to extend a grand welcome to all those who have come from different schools with the hope in their heart that their opinions and the ideas will change the world. I firmly believe that your voice will not only go unheard and that ideas blooming at this beautiful campus will spread across the nation and would make a difference. I hope that 2 days spent here at JBMUN ignite the spark within you and to fuel the desire to change the world. I hereby declare the JBMUN 2020 open.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of the US. Today, we are strengthening US policy in a vital, contentious part of the region, the South China Sea. We are making very clear that Beijing's claims to offshore resources across most of the South China Sea are completely unlawful as its campaign of bullying to control them. In the South China Sea, we seek to preserve peace and stability, uphold freedom of the seas in a manner consistent with the international law, maintain the unimpeded flow of commerce, and oppose attempts to use coercion and force to settle the dispute. As the United States has previously stated and as specifically provided in the Convention,
Delegate,
the arbitral tribunal's decision is
you may
final.
conclude.
Yes.
Thank you, Delegate.
The arbitral tribunal's decision is final and binding. Yes.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Chair, to recognize me. The delegate of China wishes you a warm good morning. The Chair, the legacy of a country is a gift to its people by the forefathers, and it has been earned by enormous exhaustion of both human and physical resources. Hence, the People Republic of China cannot waste its precious legacy. Yes, Council, you heard right. For People Republic of China, the islands in the South China Sea are not only the maritime property, they are its legacy, and it has been earned by them. But the greedy nations in the South China Sea and the greediest nation in this world, America, is trying to finger the situation and grasp the nation by illegal policies. Thank you, thank you, Chair, to give me the time. And China promises you not to surrender these type of greedy nations. Thank you. I yield my time to the Chair.
Wants the floor to have a moderated caucus on peaceful solution over the South China Sea dispute.
According to rules-based international order, historical claims should not violate other countries' sovereignty and exclusive economic zones. But PRC's claim of 9-line does not follow this law formed by UN clause. We know that those parts of sea which do not come under EEZ are international waters, and each and every country has freedom of navigation in these waters according to the UN clause. But PRC is not following this law too. On the basis of 9-line, it claims international waters, and if any country wants to cross that, it starts bullying. Thank you.
Philippines is strongly against China's claims on the territories within the 9-line because it is unlawful under the UN clause. It has also been concluded that there is no evidence that China had historically exercised exclusive control over the waters or resources. Hence, there is no legal basis for China to claim historic rights over the 9-line. Therefore, Philippines thinks that the 9-line should be removed and navigation should be allowed. Thank you, delegates of the House.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Belgium. The delegate of Belgium feels that the Belgium's interests in the South China Sea are largely in shipping and trade. That is, I want to say that maintaining peace and freedom of navigation in the region. The South China Sea is a region of tremendous economic and geostrategic importance. 30% of the world shipping trade flows through South China Sea. And Belgium is located in the Western Europe, and countries across the South China Sea are among the European most important trading partners. China doesn't agree with the UN clause maps which limit states to a territorial zone of 12 nautical miles from there and the exclusive economic zone of 200 nautical miles.
Delegate, your time
And at the last At last, I will conclude that the freedom of navigation on the basis of a stable global environment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Delegate. Are there any points of information on the floor? Seeing none, we'll be proceeding further. Next, we have the delegate of Russia. Russia, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Russia believed that countries should have a free access and neglection of the nine dashed lines throughout the South China Sea. It could be a solution, but the Russia at the same time also thinks that the more profitable and the more diplomatic solution would be if all countries allow China to have a sustained control over the South China Sea and to do development in its territories for a good trade link with the other countries of the world and to charge a reasonable trade duties as many countries have trade relations and want their trade to be unsuspected of it. So it would be a solution for all of them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. USA, you have a point of information. You are recognized.
Yes, I would. The delegate of USA would like to ask the delegate of Russia that it mentioned in the speech that it can be one of the solutions that every country cooperate with China to for sustainable development. But like its ally, also China also said that why would someone give up on a land which is earned by itself with very hard work? Its legacy, it's its legacy. Why would someone give away its legacy?
Russia, would you like to answer?
Yes, Chair, I would use the right to reply. And I would like to tell my fellow delegate that I said that China should have a sustained control over the South China Sea because it's the only country that has so much development that it could create stations in the South China Sea that are beneficial for trade. No other countries that has territorial borders with the South China Sea has so much developed technology. So it's good to the dispute dispute to remain its native countries.
South China Sea is a major oil trade route, and its dominance would allow any country to hold the strings of international oil trade. China had challenged the US in the South China Sea by building the artificial island and conducting naval patrols in US in turn launched military ships and aircrafts in the name of freedom of navigation operations. The Philippines also challenged China for interfering with its fishing and petroleum exploration around Sparcy Island by constructing the Nine Dash Line, territory which stretches hundreds of miles south and east from China's Henan province. Japan and Australia signed a landmark defense deal on November 17, 2020 in an attempt to counter China's growing influence in South China Sea and Indo-Pacific region. The pact was signed during a high-level meeting between Japanese Prime Minister and his visiting Australian counterpart. The Japan-Australia Reciprocal Access Agreement is defense agreement negotiated for 6 years.
The area is most important for the global world as 30% of the world's trade and 5.3 trillion worth good in total trade passes through the South China Sea every year. 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas found in the South China Sea, which is a major reason for why China is so much interested in this area. China is using salami slicing strategy against her neighbors for a long time, and he is doing same here. China unilaterally claimed the 9-dash line overlapped Indonesia's exclusive economic zone near the Natuna Island, but he must acknowledge Indonesia's sovereignty over the Natuna Island. And in the conclusion, our country supports a peaceful way to solve the dispute. Unlawful claims must be dismissed. Thank you. Rest of the minutes, I want to yield to the chair.
I would like to question the delegate of Indonesia that till 1950 you are not claiming the South China Sea, but after knowing the proximity of resources and minerals over there, you start claiming over South China Sea. So why?
I think my fellow delegate had misunderstood our point. We are non-claimant state in the South China Sea, and we do not claim any of the area, excluding our 200 nautical miles.
Economically and strategically, Asia, in particular Pacific Asia, remains an important area to Britain, and the South China Sea is the choke point connecting Britain with the region. The delegate of UK would like to inform the Council that China is indulged in illegal construction of infrastructure in partly and partial islands, which is not something uncommon. India has in recent past condemned China on Doklam issue and is currently facing tough challenge in Ladakh region. We would like the chair to take cognizance of the issue and disapprove any illegal construction of roads and other structures in disputed territory. The delegate of UK yields its time back to the chair.
Operative Clause 1 urges the enabling of the Code of Conduct to be followed regarding the dispute solving. Operative Clause 2 calls upon developed countries to support weaker countries by providing underdeveloped countries apparatus to get resources of the sea in their exclusive economic zone to avoid others taking profit of it. Second, 2.1, providing them military strength so that powerful nations can't bully them. Operative Clause 3 affirms that militarization of any country over the South China Sea without the consent of neighboring countries such as China, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam will not be accepted. Thus, the General Assembly will summon such militarization activities through the Security Council. Fourth, emphasizes that freedom of navigation should be strongly implemented in the South China Sea, and member states that violate will be penalized accordingly. Fifth, further recommends the nations building or built artificial islands to be demolished, which are causing coral reefs destruction in the South China Sea. Sixth, requests the world nations to demilitarize the South China Sea up to the extent till their national interest allow and their security is not hampered. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And the delegate of Russia would like to ask the question from delegate of USA that in its clause 3rd or 4th it said that military support should be given to the smaller countries. The delegate of Russia wants to know that doesn't it's creating military tension in smaller areas? As of Balkan area before First World War, this could rupture into a war.
USA, if you do not wish to answer the question, I'll request the delegates from the other resolution to raise their hands if they wish to answer. Yes, the delegate of USA would like to answer to the question. Okay, USA, please answer. The delegate of Russia mentioned that if military support is provided to the smaller countries, then there can be a threat to war, but it is for security reasons, that like if taking advantage of countries being small and having less militarization, the bigger nations, for example China, can take advantage and try to bully them and claim the area which belong to the smaller nation. Our motive is to safeguard our
Thank you,
allies.
USA. Would Russia like to have a follow back of 15 seconds?
Yes,
Please go
yes,
ahead.
Chair. The past history of US shows that in any of the countries, if it has provided a military support, say as Afghanistan or any other country, it has resulted into highly tense regions and has transformed into a war.
Okay, thank you,
Doesn't this
Rakshya.
past tell about
Any
the
reply
future?
to that, USA?
Yes, the situation in Afghanistan is very different. There, the problem is of terrorists, and knowing that in South China Sea there are the nations, we support militarizing smaller nations for their purpose and for our reasons as well.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. The delegate of China would like to propose an amendment in the fifth clause with the word demolished and change the word demolished to and change the word demolished and change the concept of demolization to 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 desertation, because in the process of demolishing, a lot of pollution will be there, and China, seeking the peace, also wants few islands to be deserted so that it could be so that the nature could reconserve it, and it will only and the desertation will help and the desertation will help more than the demolition, and demolition will cause more pollution.
So, Delegate of USA, now I request you to defend your resolution against the amendment for 10 seconds. You have the floor.
The nature has its own abilities to heal, and if we demolish the islands, it will surely heal itself in its own manner, and if we help by demolishing, it will be our good, for our good, and as China speaks, it wants peace.
Thank you, USA. 10 seconds to China for a reply. Quick.
Thank you, USA.
In the process of demolition, a lot of hydrocarbons are used, a lot of nuclear weapons, a lot of nuclear energy is used, and in this process it involves a lot of pollutants, 50 to 60% more pollutants which are released by USA in every day.
Thank you,
So
China.
it is a
USA,
very
reply to
pollution
that.
causing.
10 seconds.
China said that it will apply use of nuclear weapons, but since China has taken out ways to build artificial islands, it can find out ways to demolish them eco-friendly.
Okay, USA, will you entertain a question from the judge? Okay. If you have a choice to demolish or desert the same place, while it may not be used for any other purpose, what would you choose? Something that will require a lot of energy, a lot of money to demolish, and a lot of time and resources of the country, or would you rather desert it so that or would you rather desert it? Or is there any other reason you don't want desertion of it because you fear that any other country might regain its power on it? What is the reason? Would you please justify?
Knowing history of China, it has always taken advantage of weaklings. So knowing its deeds in the past, the country, the nation and the world cannot trust China over desertion, because as we all know, China has been involved itself in hiding many secrets from the world and doing what it wants.
Kindly read out the operative clauses.
Thank you,
Delegate of
Chair.
Singapore.
Thank you, Chair. The clause 1.1 is trust USA and its allies would assist in letting the peace flow in the region by avoiding its agenda and letting the concerned parties resolve the issue. And if needed, we can follow the arbitration process as suggested by UN clause. Draws the attention that USA's military drill in the water of Philippines has been criticizing all the peace-loving nations on the council. Hence, it should be curtailed and stopped immediately. Clause number 2.1 expresses hope that the free choice of procedure for compulsory settlement under Part 15 of the UN clause will avail in case of no solution, wherein a party is advised to accept one or more of the following: the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, the International Court of Justice, the Arbitration Tribunal, and a Special Attribute Tribunal, Article 287 of the Law Conservation. The clause number 3.1 urges member states to comply with the goals set by the UN clause in resolution of South China Sea and solve the issue of overlapping continental shelf as per the previous agreement. Indonesia and Malaysia in 1969, Indonesia and Singapore in 1973, Malaysia and Thailand in 1979, Thailand and Vietnam in 1997, and China and Vietnam in 2000. Clause number 4.1 recommend if there is still any unresolved issue, it should be handled within the concerned parties only as per the Declaration on the Conduct. Clause number 5.1 emphasizes that the United Nations Security Council's permanent member will act as the guardian and guiding force for the member nation and lead by the example to create a peaceful world and let dispute be handled by communication rather than warfare.
The delegate of USA would like to ask the sponsors of Resolution 2 that in their operative clause 1.1, they have mentioned USA and its allies would assist in letting the peace flow in the region by avoiding its agenda. Since the sponsors know our agenda very well, so we would like to ask the sponsors to specify which US or what US agendas.
Any of the signatories or the sponsors of draft resolution 2.0 who wish to answer, they may raise their hand. Okay, delegate of China, you're recognized.
Thank you. The delegate of China would like to answer the delegate of US that the China should change its policy of over interfering in each and every matter, and it should try to have a peaceful solution with using words and rather than focusing on military and using power. The US should try to also sit with the Asian countries with peaceful intention, and the China with its sponsor and all signatories will trust the US and its allies also.
1.1 of your operative clause, it is stated that we can, if needed, we can follow the arbitration process as suggested by UN clause. Would you please, or any other sponsor from your resolution, define what is this arbitration process suggested by UN clause that you want to use if you want to avoid USA or its allies using their agenda? I mean, what specifically is this arbitration process? This is not a counter question, this is a clarification plea. What do you mean by this arbitration process suggested by UN clause? And nobody is going to be marked for this because this is a clarification from the DepSec. Any sponsor from the, we have Russia and Singapore raising their hands. Russia, please define what do you mean by this?
The arbitration means the rules which are given by the International Arbitration of Sea in 2014. It stated that any outside influences should be stopped and the regions should be demilitarized and should be divided on the consent of both the countries and along with their neighbors.
The delegate of USA would like to ask the sponsors that they have mentioned in 1.1 that let the concerned parties resolve the issue. The delegate of USA would like an deletion of this amendment, because if only concerned parties would have been let to entertain the dispute, the UN would not have been formed. If the sponsors are asking us to mind our own business, they are also questioning the formation of the UN. So the delegate USA would want deletion of that phrase, that letting the concerned parties resolve the issue.
Russia and China being very responsible countries of not only UNSC but United Nations, you have to give explanation as to why did you cancel a whole resolution which could be consequential and beneficial for the committee. Why is that you have wasted so much time of the committee? Not wasted, but why would you like this resolution to not take place? 30-second explanation.
May I?
Yes.
Because Russia never appreciated wastage of natural resources. The demolition or desertion or anything else of the artificial islands would result in the wastage of resources, pollution of environment, and also not stopping the further development in the trade links of the future.
Okay, thank you, Russia. China, your 30-second explanation as to why would you like to veto this?
Yeah, thank you. Because the USA has proposed in the 5th clause demolition as a very wrong thing, because demolition will produce a lot of pollution, and as China proposed the conversion of few islands which are concerned into tourism spots like Hawaii, like Goa, like Thailand, so that and all the wealth generated and all the resources generated from it would be funded to WHO for the help of poor. And for China, the help of the poor is the main concern and the best concern.
Please go on for the adjournment motion. Before you do that, as the Deputy Secretary General, I would like to thank all the delegates and appreciate the resolution 1.0 sponsors and signatories for having a majority vote, even if the resolution was not voted for.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you young leaders who have gathered here. And I would also like to thank your respectful principals and your teachers that even in this pandemic situation, they motivated you to participate in this event. Though it might just be an MUN at the school level, but the main reason for having these kinds of events is to hone in you the leadership qualities and also to make you aware of the scenario in which you are existing right now. And maybe just like as you have degree colleges for engineering and medical, I really hope there might be a forum where a formal degree in leadership will also be there to train you, because that is the need of the hour. So I congratulate each one of you all. Some we may win, some we may lose, but what is important is the spirit of participating. So congratulations to each one of you all for putting in the best that you had in the given circumstances. Thank you very much. The most cooperative team leader goes to Mr. Prakash Dwivedi. Special mention goes to Abhay Singh from the team Singapore, the country Singapore rather, representative of Singapore. Honorable mention goes to Om Makhija from Indonesia. He's from YBM, I think.
Yes,
next is high commendations goes to Mridul Tiwari representing China, Sunbeam School, and Anirudh Pratap Singh, Russia from Grammar Academy.
Yes,
the best delegate goes to Suhani Talreja, USA, JB Academy. And the best delegation, any guesses from anybody? Would anybody like to guess? Best delegation? Yes? No. Second guess?
USA.
Best
The name of your
delegation.
school? Best delegation.
The team, the best team.
China.
School name, please.
Grammar Academy.
No. The last guess?
Sunbeam.
Yes, definitely it is Sunbeam. Congratulations to you. Each one of you all, the ones who have not managed to get a place here, please don't be disheartened. What is essential is the spirit of participating. So once again, congratulations to each one of you all, and hope in future I will meet you as a well-known leader whose autograph I may aspire to have. All the best, children.